Hits for the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we are going to talk about, is Kanye West crazy? Okay, check this out, guys. First and foremost, we're quick to bring up always the negatives, right? Has he stepped out of line? Has he said some things live on television and maybe throughout social media? Made some, some comments that maybe he should have, kind of contained himself. But then, last I remember, we are in the United States of America. We do have freedom of speech. Right, we don't have to agree with everything, but we do have that right. So, are we stripping him of his rights, or anybody for that matter? I'm not condoning that what he did was right, but I am stating that he has a right. All right. So, no, and this is not I'm not getting paid for this. This is not, Kanye West. I've never met the man. I'm not trying to, stand behind him. This is just an opinion and bringing it out to you, out there, just to, bring out my opinion towards it. And you know what, guys, I apologize. I have the back windows open, so if there's a background noise or whatever comes in, it's getting warm out here in Central California. But anyhow, moving forward, Kanye West did rush the stage for when Taylor Swift, some of your favorite Taylor Swift, sorry. Anyhow, I know how some of you guys love her. I really don't have no opinion about it. Hey, she does what she does, and hey, whatever. But anyhow, no, seriously speaking, he rushed the stage, said, that Beyonce should have won that award. He said, on live television, with Michael Myers on his side, mentioned about the president at the time, George Bush, Jr. was, and, so on and so forth, has he gone, and said some things, right? But, but what's going on with that? I mean, as far as people right away, we kind of jump on the bandwagon of what we feel is right. And again, we have that right to our own opinion, right? But I think that what's happening here is that we tend to fall into the side of okay, well, I'm going to fall into this side because this is my safety zone where I'm not going to sound, I'm afraid to say how I really feel. I got to roll this way. Roll how you really feel. That's my opinion about it. You know what I mean? And if somebody doesn't like it or doesn't agree to it, hey, that's what it is. But anyhow, you know what? Bear with me here. Follow me through this, guys. And I'll get back to this. This all pertains to what I'm going to talk about. There's a 1985 film entitled Fright Night. Those of you who've seen it, actually it's one of my favorite movies that I like. But in the film, there's a kid that lives, in a house, and he sees the neighbors moving in, right? And he sees them moving in a coffin, right? And he's like, what the heck? Like, okay, there's a coffin, like, okay, so to bring you up to speed a little bit, if you haven't watched it, you watch it. Spoilers ahead, I guess, I don't know, if you haven't seen it. And I'm not talking about the remake and all this other stuff, or the ones that came after, the original, 1985 Fright Night. So what happens is, this kid figures out that the next door neighbor is a vampire, right? And so he's going around telling people, "Hey, man, he's a vampire," yada yada yada, and it's a point in time where they brought this film to kind of be cool. They made vampires cool, to where new things came in, where a vampire can't enter your home unless you invite him. So in the film, the mom, being the good neighbor, invites him in the house, and the kid's going crazy, like, "Hey, man, he's da da da." So what I'm getting at is, nobody believes this kid. Nobody believes him. His friends don't believe him. There's a guy, he goes after an actor, and he tells him about the vampire thing, right? So moving forward with that, let me try to get through this quick. But I think it's vital and important that I tell you this stuff. So what happens is, they get together and they get the vampire to drink a little bottle of holy water, right? So when the vampire, he's there and he's standing by the fireplace. So while they're busy talking, and the vampire basically makes a mockery out of him and makes him look like a fool. But in the midst of that, he puts the little vial, he puts it next to the fireplace. I don't know if he did some kind of ritual or whatever it was. It's a movie. He puts it next to the fireplace. Made the bowels of whatever take away the holiness, whatever it might have been. Right? It doesn't say anything. It's just speculation of that's what he put next to the fire. So he opens the vial. He drinks the water, the holy water, and nothing happens. Right? Obviously, because he kind of cursed it or whatever he did. Right? So now this kid looks like an idiot. So what happens is, in the film they end up finding out he's a vampire and so on and so forth. Right? My point being to that, back to the Kanye West thing, the best way to get rid of somebody or get him to shut up is to say, "Hey, well, you know what? He's crazy." And we, as people in the United States or throughout the world, excuse me, we tend to kind of follow that trend. Again, to be in the safety zone, we don't want to go against the grain. But so we believe that he's crazy. But I've seen a couple of interviews with him, and I've got to see him in different lights. Sometimes, yes, he's out of line. He's, sometimes it's like, what the heck, dude? Like, this guy's, he's tripping. But then there's sometimes he's like the most humble person, likable person. Aside from that, I mean, his first few albums were like immaculate classics, if you will. And I'll be honest about that. Like, I mean, the guy's talented as far as beats and stuff like that, right? Unfortunately, he's fallen on hard times. Goes to show the proof that he's human just like anybody else, right? Like any of us, for that matter. So, with that being said, guys, he's labeled a crazy guy, right? And I saw an interview with him. Maybe it might be a year, a little older, the interview, right? Where he's talking about his mother was a sacrifice, that his, all these celebrities, these high-end celebrities are part of a cult or whatnot. He's speculating that in a sense. and we are to, tell all what doesn't exist. What's that line in the Usual Suspects? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making people think he didn't exist. That to me kind of falls in the same line, right, with the situation. And again, it's just my opinion. Just I'm not hardcore into it. I'm just like really looking at stuff like, okay. But again, if we take a step back and listen to stuff and listen to the interviews and really get into it without making without thinking first, like it's like somebody tells you, oh, you know what, I'm gonna tell you a joke, and right away you put them in. I'm not gonna laugh. I think it's stupid. Like you're already setting yourself up. Like, no, I'm not. I don't care. I don't want to hear this. But anyhow, in the interview, he states that he's reading a text message from somebody in higher ups in Hollywood, and says, hey, it says right here, I will, we can have a conversation. You can't swear, you can't say anything. You just come have a conversation, and if you don't, I will make sure I will put you away. And I'm paraphrasing. Basically, I will put you away and make sure you go crazy and you'll get put away or something like that. In other words, and he goes on to say that they want to put him on meds and that they were going to take him in, and he refused to because he was afraid that they would poison him. Right? He doesn't come on and say it like that, but if you really pay attention to what he's saying, he says that. Right? He says his mother was a sacrifice. He goes on to say that he cannot be controlled by the elites, and so on and so forth. So what happens there, guys, is, is he crazy? I mean, really? I mean, I think we tend to overlook it. Like, as soon as he comes out, like, oh, forget it, just change it. Like, I don't want to see this. But it really raises, at least in my opinion, and I'm just sharing it with you guys, it really brought up that it really made me think, like, is he really crazy? Or is he really telling the truth and they're just trying to shut him up and making us believe he's crazy? Because he's exposing and he's saying stuff he shouldn't be saying, Is he being set up to get rid of, and not to get into religion and stuff. If you believe, whether you believe or you don't, whichever way it goes, it kind of goes back to me. It kind of goes back, like, say, for example, when they say, oh, Noah was building the ark, and they said, oh, there's going to be a flood, and yada, 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 or whatever, right? They're doing all this stuff. I'm not going to get into details about that. But, oh, you're crazy, but then the flood came. If you believe in that kind of stuff, right? Then it makes you think, well, who's crazy? Was Noah actually crazy? Or did he just sound crazy, but he was actually telling the truth? That's where we're at with it, man. I'm just asking. I mean, I would like to know in the comments below if you guys can, say, give your opinion about it. But I mean, okay, but respectable opinion. So this is for those who actually want to listen and really going to take it into consideration, to look at it from a different angle, without any hate in there. And again, this is not a promotional thing for Kanye West. I'm not trying to be like, oh, yeah, go Kanye West, and yeah, I'm pushing it. Do I like some of the stuff he's saying? Yes, I do. I actually do. Some of the stuff makes sense to me. Yes, it does. Can I say, oh, you know what? He's standing up for himself? Yeah, I really can. The unfortunate is that we are led to believe that he's crazy. And I'm starting to kind of see things like maybe he's not, But that's just me. And so I will I will put that video in the description bottom below, so you guys can check it out if you wish, where he talks about that stuff. And if you really look at it, he's being very open and humble about it, and he keeps referring back to his religious belief as far as believing in God and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get into that part of it, guys. If you believe, you believe. If you don't, that's That's a whole other thing. But the reasons as to why I believe that he's anti-elite, if you will, makes a lot of sense to me. Makes a lot of sense to me. And I just thought I'd bring it out here on Two-Face Entertainment to bring this across, because I've seen, at least in my part, I haven't seen no other channel bring this to light, to say, well, maybe he's not crazy, you know. I'm just bringing it out. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he's not. You know, I'm just saying, is he crazy? Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is telling the truth, and we're led to believe he. You know, this is just simply an opinion. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because again, I've seen no other channel bring this forward, and we tend to keep moving forward and trying to, you know, say, hey, well, you know what, you know, we push our agenda, you know, or whatever, our beliefs and stuff, right? And I believe he's been swept under the rug to the point where, don't listen to him. Don't listen. He's a nutcase. He's a basket case. He's a space cadet. Whatever it is. So anyway, guys. I mean, it's unfortunate his divorce from Kim Kardashian, so on and so forth. I mean, guys, these are only human people, just like you and I. They're not immune to problems, no matter the amount of money they have, right? Which goes back to money doesn't buy happiness, you know? People can still, if people have mental issues, it has nothing to, does he have a mental issue? Does Kim Kardashian have a mental issue? Would Kim Kardashian be who she is without everything that she has? You know? At the end of the day, it's what we have in our hearts, right? But with that, guys, I just thought I'd bring this forward to you guys. Wishing you guys, you know, love and respect, and wishing you guys the best, as always. With that, this is Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, signing out.